Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I very much hope that you can see me, because as it is right now, I can see you. Or at least I think so. So, this is the challenge that actually is funny in a way because it has never been pronounced, it has never been outspoken, but I'm taking it up anyway. Because a friend of mine who actually, well, okay, an acquaintance and hopefully a friend as well a bit. We never actually discussed that. But anyway, a friend of mine has mentioned that they are practicing now, that they are starting to get on program, so to speak, with their physical activities. So while you're watching this video, I'm walking on a machine. I don't know what it's called, like a power step machine or power walking machine or whatever it is. And I'm also kind of trying to get in shape. So anyway, what was the interesting things that have been happening lately? So we have had a few things, such as, for example, the massive protest. So there has been a massive protest, which was by people who are against corona restrictions. Corona skeptics, you might say, or whatever you want to call them. And there has been, one has to say, a very mild, I would say mild, in comparison to other countries. There has been very mild handling of it by police, but of course there were a few people who were very angrily and perhaps by some people considered even somewhat unnecessary violence when they were dragged away. How is that possible to say? So those people who were on these demonstrations, they all came with hearts, like the paper hearts and stuff like that. And they were saying, so police dragged us away, and that was an unnecessary violence. But one also has to add that this layer has yet another layer, because those demonstrations were not allowed. They didn't receive permission necessary to do something like that. But on the other hand, those new rules where you are restricted only to 8 people, in a way they also do violate general principles of Swedish constitution. So, of course, the argument is, from one side, is that these limitations are in there only for a short period of time, and it's necessary because of pandemic that there should be some restrictions of most basic constitutional rights. The other side says no, there shouldn't be. Nobody has asked us about the restrictions of those constitutional rights and things like that. So it's an argument which can be seen from both sides, and I'm not taking any side in particular in this. I'm just saying that some people are saying that there is violation of their constitutional rights, and some other people saying that actually there might be, but it's okay because it's for limited time and it's for a good cause. Anyway, so what was the surprising part? The surprising part was, as I mentioned in my previous videos, that the Swedish official police institution, the Organization of Swedish Police, has spoken out against the corona rules, because they labeled them in a document which they also sent to the government, that those rules were extremely confusing, not thought through, contradictory, and that they created a lot of irritation among the population, and it was very strange that they, as a police who are not medical or biological specialists, have to enforce them. But now comes the second part, and it's almost even more surprising. A very, very, very liberal-leaning newspaper, I think it was Dagens Nyheter, and they where normally the people who you would expect not only would be pro restrictions, because they are very big on pro-corona stuff, like corona restrictions are their bread and butter, so to speak. But also, generally speaking, they are at odds with most of the people who believe in different sort of things that are avoiding liberal agenda in one or the other form. So basically, very, very hardcore fundamentalists, like from liberal side. If you're not one of them, usually they will very strictly stand up against you. And this situation was so strange because the same newspaper was speaking about the fact that they would be in support of exception from the corona rules. So the situation has gone so far that even some people in the very, very liberal corner are now speaking out against the restrictions on demonstration. And what was the liberals' argument? The argument was something like this. On one hand, that of course it is very, very stupid to have those demonstrations right now. That it's stupid and wrong. But to do something that from a moral point of view is wrong, or to do something that by most people will be considered stupid, says liberal newspaper, it's not the same as having prohibition against that. So the opinion of the liberal newspaper was that the people should be having an exception which would allow people to demonstrate. So the degree of boiling in the society has reached such a point that even some people who are usually very much hardcore pro-restriction are speaking out to allow demonstrations, because this is the thing that would prevent situation from exploding. Because even people on the liberal side realize that there is some tension in the society, that there is a lot of tension, a lot of irritation, and many mainstream political parties are unable to pick up that. But by different estimates, people who are against or strongly against the current, so to speak, corona policy could make up somewhere between 25 and 30%. So a very, very sizable chunk of population would be even against very mild Swedish corona restrictions. And of course, none of those people, none of those 30%, are represented in any party in Swedish parliament. Each and every, from left to right party in the political spectrum says, no questions about that, we should have corona restrictions. But those people who demonstrate on the street, they don't belong to any of them. They don't belong to any of those political parties. And they have this irritation which then can express during those demonstrations. And even liberals, they're saying, let those people blow off some steam. Let those people demonstrate. Because if one would forbid those demonstrations, we don't know where it would end. We don't know what people might do, how crazy they might get. So, I think it's a very fascinating argument, and I wonder, what do you think about that? Where do you land on that? Should the anti-corona demonstrations be allowed, or should there be a prohibition against that? Okay, it will be very interesting to know. See you later. Bye.